If you're wondering about the crickets, it's because Brian Stelter left CNN and nobody cares. But that's not what we're talking about today.
No, but we are talking about something very similar.
We're talking about Brian Stelter's balls the wag.
We're going to be reading New York Times. We love the New York Times. New
York Times? Sorry for spitting everywhere, but the New York Times, they write articles about news, and frankly, my God, help me. They can write a hell of an article.
Yeah, they sure can.
Listen,
and this one in particular.
I like the New York Times a lot. I grew up in New York. I grew up in the Bronx.
Great.
Did you know that?
Nope.
Me, Fauci, Brian Stelter. Brian Stelter and Fauci, they had monkeypox first. Not a lot of people know that. In the Bronx, stuff happens.
And you got monkeypox too?
No.
Okay, so this is by the New York Times. How history will remember the Fauci era.
God bless him. Every time I see his face, I'm like, oh, I forgot he looks like a dead mouse. He actually looks like a dead mouse, though. Like once the skin starts shriveling up.
Yeah,
like we're like, oh, this one's been here for days.
Yeah.
And it starts turning kind of pale. And it's like
AIDS, SARS,
H1N1
influenza, Ebola.
Wonderful things that Dr. Fauci created.
COVID-19, monkeypox. Infectious disease outbreaks often come and go, though some persist over the long haul, much like the man who has occupied the campus of the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, MD, as director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases since 1984, Dr. Anthony Stephen Fauci.
Stephen Fauci?
Yeah, Stephen Fauci.
Stefan. He's French. Fauci.
I came of age...
I came across AIDS when I had him.
See, he says, I came of age in the 1980s, the age of AIDS. But in a way...
What is this, Dr. Seuss?
But in a way, this was the beginning of the age of Tony, as many call him.
There's the age of Toadskin.
Because he'd be there through all of it.
Old Toadskin Tony.
For each and every one of the nation's adventures with infectious diseases.
Adventures? My favorite children's book series, Adventures with Infectious Diseases. They go on crazy things. They go in tunnels, caves, river streams. The boys and the infectious diseases are there. Tommy, monkeypox, Willie, AIDS, all the gang.
Calm guide with the unmistakably Brooklyn accent.
They say unmistakably beautiful voice.
Took heat from AIDS activists as they descended on the National Institutes of Health Building 31 in 1990. He hugged Nina Pam.
She got AIDS.
A Dallas nurse in front of cameras after she recovered from Ebola to soothe a nation's fears about the virus in 2014. He was deadpan presence in the background of President Donald Trump's news conference on COVID-19. He advised presidents since Ronald Reagan on what to do in the face of these scourges. As the Yale historian,
he didn't do a very good job, though. That's what they leave out.
What?
He didn't do a very good job.
Yeah. Well,
he, for starters, how old is this guy?
80-something.
Surprised, isn't it such a coincidence? You know that these diseases seem to have gotten everybody but him. It's as if he's.
Well, he had it just like last month.
I think he's behind the scenes. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think he's the one who's behind the scenes. You know, this guy gets it after nobody, like right when nobody expects you to die from it, he gets it.
Yeah.
I don't think he had it. You know what he had?
He was like, yes, I have it.
Oh, yes, I'm very sick. Oh, I got it all. I got COVID, monkeypox, AIDS, all of it. Oh, I'm so sick. Ooh.
Dr. Fauci.
As the Yale...
Oh, I've been involved in so many diseases. I'm so special.
We gotta get on to this.
Oh, look at me. I invented AIDS.
As the Yale historian Frank Snowden has noted,
Did I say Edward Snowden?
No. From the middle of the 20th century until the advent of AIDS, during what he called an age of hubris, scientists had largely declared mission accomplished in terms of the battle against infectious diseases.
And then one day, Dr. Fauci said,
I think we can do another. We can make one more. Maybe two. I'm working on it.
As antibiotics put microbial threats distinctly into the past. If AIDS was the comeuppance for our arrogance as scientists over the years, rightly or wrongly, Dr. Fauci gave the impression that science could handle these challenges eventually through the methodological Anyways.
what? Caleb, are you going to be okay?
Let's skip ahead a little bit.
Yeah,
when protease inhibitors arrived in the mid-1990s to change the course of the AIDS epidemic, giving life to many people who face certain death, this optimism seemed borne out, at least to many of my friends and colleagues who had watched a generation perish to the disease. As Dr. Fauci prepares to retire at the end of this year, one has to wonder if this is the end of an era as well.
What, end of a diseased era?
Yeah.
It's like as soon as I got in, all these diseases just magically showed up.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the end of the era of diseases. Oh, we were doing so well, and Dr. Fauci showed up, and what are we going to do without a disease?
Yeah, I don't know. What are we going to
How am I supposed to get my sick kicks without AIDS? Without monkeys? Without the Rona? Without...
Can't think of anything. Well, everything I thought of shouldn't be said.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. No one I know thinks that our gains on AIDS and the progress we've made
Fauci
in other
spreads
areas
all the
of
gayest
infectious
diseases.
control, particularly on vaccine preventable diseases, are trivial accomplishments. But with COVID-19, something has changed. It tested a fundamental equilibrium among science, public health, and politics in America. Most administrations, I argue, simply don't care about science and public health. It's not a priority to them. On AIDS, Mr. Reagan ignored it, and Bill Clinton paid lip service to it. George W. Bush came the closest to making it a priority with the establishment of the president's emergency plan for AIDS relief. But by the time of Barack Obama, activists were protesting again about an administration's neglect.
What?
He's talking about how all the presidents neglected public health, I guess.
So I don't get whatever people are like, oh my gosh, they're ignoring the disease. What the heck's the president supposed to do about a disease? Like, assuming all the, like, it's one thing if it's like, nobody's even researching it. It's like, okay, that's one thing. If all the research is being done and all the information's out there, you don't need the president to come to your house and be like,
Got a little vaccine here for you.
And he's like, I deliver it via teat.
If you get the milk out, the vaccine's at the end.
It's attached to a string.
Ever hear of leprechauns? See what's at the end of this rainbow.
Yeah.
It's one thing if like the government's actually like blocking information, but it's another thing if they're just simply like what? Like we want I don't understand this whole I want the president to be hands-on involved with the disease.
He goes further on that. He says, for decades, Dr. Fauci and other scientists could advise presidents, even sway them for good on occasion.
I haven't seen it, but it could happen.
Because so little was at stake politically for these leaders. But with Mr. Trump and President Biden, too much was riding on their short-term political fortunes to indulge scientific and public health evidence and advice too much or for too long. I'll never forget an email I sent to Dr. Fauci and other health leaders during the Trump administration at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic.
It said, Dear Mr. Fauci,
begging them.
It would be great if you could come into my room one night through the window and give me
Lots of goodies and AIDS. I don't even care.
Begging them to speak up and provide scientific leadership in the chaos and mismanagement that scientists...
Please, God, Fauci, guide us!
And the scientists and the public saw happening around us. But there was little the good doctor could do.
Don't call him the good doctor.
And he even acknowledged this was a unique situation.
You mean every time somebody was like, hey, how come all your advice like is never consistent and it never makes any sense?
It's a unique situation, actually.
That's like the most default, I have no idea what I'm talking about, like response. Somebody's like, hey, how come your car is like busted? Like it looks like every time you start up, there's a gunshot noise and it bursts into flames. It's like, well, it's actually a unique situation.
And it's very interesting.
It's like, oh, I forgot my wallet. You mind lending me $10? It's like, how come you never have your wallet? It's a unique situation, actually. The most default. I'm a retard answered anything. It's a unique situation.
With the election of Mr. Biden.
Why are thousands of people dying? It's a unique situation. I only invented it. I don't know how to work it.
Many in public health had hoped for someone to lead with the science, but soon pollsters were urging his administration to take the win over COVID, declare the crisis over, stop talking about mitigation efforts, and get people to understand that COVID-19 would simply be with us for a long time. He said that was what no. In the age of Dr. Fauci was one in which we looked forward to progress, even if always
a failure.
Yeah. The current era is the age of
we
have the tools. It is a distinct new pessimism of spirit, cynicism of the will, born of the hubris of some physicians, but mostly of the political calculations of others that doing more on this pandemic is untenable. The sound you hear is the thud of resignation in the face of the suffering of so many over the past 2.5 years, and a summer in which where we add hundreds to the dead every day in the United States. In the darkest days of the AIDS epidemic, Dr. Fauci never gave up. We didn't sit with the mounting dead.
Didn't necessarily succeed, but he didn't give up.
Yes.
You know, imagine a race. Maybe you trip over and don't get up. Maybe you crawl, but you're technically, I guess, there. Dr. Fauci's 4'2". Did you know that?
Really?
4'2".
That's pretty short.
He's actually more like 3'7".
Huh. Like 3.7 inches?
Could be.
So he's also the size of a mouse. He doesn't just look like one.
I think he's just a mouse. It's a mouse with human arms. He's actually the first chimera.
Oh, grown in China.
Grown and raised right here in China.
Yeah. We didn't sit with the mounting dead and our pitiful armamentarium of weak drugs and suggest we had the tools. We fought and we argued, for sure, but moved ahead.
We tried, damn it. We tried.
But we moved ahead together, never satisfied with the status quo. If he weren't retiring in December, I'd imagine him working to his very last breath until there was a cure for AIDS. We should have...
He worked till his last breath, till he died from monkeypox.
We should all have his resolve and commitment, even if Dr. Fauci lives in a world of dire constraints.
And diarrhea constraints. Constipated as hell, too much cheese, that damn mouse. Oh, help him.
Of the men and women of politics who dream small and think about the next election, always, rather than the nature and qualities of their legacies, of which Dr. Fauci is assuredly great.
Give that man a damn participation trophy.
Fauci says he will step down in December to pursue his next chapter.
His next chapter of hiding so people don't, he wanted all the airtime, and now he's like,
maybe it was a mistake, I don't know. People kind of think I'm a scumbag, you make a couple diseases, you get in trouble. Not a good situation. I'm going to go into hiding. I'm going to hide in my little mouse hole for a couple of years. I'll come back. I'll look younger because the baby's blood, it'll keep my skin fresh, keep me lush. I'll hide. I'll survive, and I will return as the god that they will hail me as. Lord Fauci will return in a dark swooth of AIDS.
Smooth a word?
I want to look it up.
Smooth. Well, that's it. Another win.
Well, Dr. Fauci, as much as I wanted to see you put on trial and condemned for your crimes against humanity, I guess I'll take a resignation as long as I never have to hear your name again. Honestly, I just wanted to see him put in front of everybody, and I wanted everybody just to see what a scumbag he is.
Yeah.
I wanted him put on trial for crimes against humanity. But all we get is like, I'm retiring a great man. I was great, I'm sorry. I've been around for 200 years, I'm quitting.
You're doing like Fauci and Trump together.
It's true. Trump would be like, I trusted you with my left hand, but little did you know I'm right-handed. And then Fauci would be like, oh, my neck, my neck.
All right, well, that's it. We're done.
Have a nice AIDS, everyone.
Go to hell, Dr. Fauci. We never wanted you here.